Listen to Wrestling Up on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord, we got Josh.
Hey.
A big weekend of SummerSlam to get through. 13 odd matches. I'ma just start at number 1 and run through. Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, opening up night 1 against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in a tag team match.
It was a decent match. I mean, um, there wasn't a lot that I think get wet our whistle for the eventual match we will get between Roman and Braun, a one-on-one match. But this was more about furthering the story towards War Games.
Yeah, I feel like it was a taster for 2 matches, as you said, a Roman Reigns Braun Breaker one-on-one match and a Seth's crew versus Roman's crew, effectively bigger match as well. So it was just a little bit of a taster. It wasn't bad, but it was one of those matches that's just the start or early on in the build. It's
Yeah.
not the climax or the big ending.
Yeah. Yeah. This will be the Raw War Games match. The SmackDown War Games match will be the Bloodline 2.0.
Mhm.
And so we thought they might throw all that together with Roman and stuff, but it looks like it's not going to be that case. Because we have a lot to talk about when we get to the main event of night 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unless you're gonna put like a 9 versus 9 match, I don't think we can combine them necessarily. Uh, Second match on the card, Women's Tag Team Championship was on the line. The Judgment Day coming in as champions, but it was Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss that walk out with the gold.
Team Friendship wins.
Team, we're not friends.
Yep. Shit. The Judgment Day should have watched anime because friendship is the most powerful magic there is in existence, and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are having a blast with this right now, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, it feels like we struck while the iron was hot. Everybody's behind Alexa. Everybody's behind Charlotte, in a rare case. And yeah, let them run with it. Let them do the we're not friends, but we're friends. Oh, we hugged, so everybody loves it. It works great. The Judgment Day, obviously the end game for this is a Liv Morgan return and going against Roxanne, or seeing that Roxanne has replaced her. Maybe Raquel gets mad because Roxanne lost the titles. There's so much you can do with it there. They didn't need to keep holding on to the titles to propel their story further. And Flair and Bliss are once again two, main event top 5 talents holding the tag titles to, fingers crossed, I feel like I say this all the time, hopefully elevate the titles.
Yeah, and at the very least, it keeps Charlotte Flair away from a major title for a while, forever long this tag team lasts, and it allows Alexa to further develop who she is outside of what she did with Bray, any connotations that there may have been with her in the Wyatt Six, and it gives us an element to get back to the goddess version of Alexa.
Yeah, it feels like this is kind of not a fork in the road, but it is a transition piece where you could go either way, right? If you wanted to go fully retro Alexa Bliss and take her down the ego-driven top dog, well, having her with Charlotte will definitely do that. And if you wanted to, if they did want to spin her off with the Wyatt Six at the end of this, you know how much they love people turning on their friends. And so you could go either way. I don't want either to happen particularly fast. I do want this tag team to flourish and to play out their story, There's nothing worse than swapping the tag titles over to the team and then immediately breaking them up. So give them some time to breathe. Maybe, 4 or 5 months down the line, let's see where they want to go with these two characters.
I'm thinking they should hold the titles to at least the Royal Rumble. At that point, we can talk about how well the tag reign has been, and whether we can go from there. but I think the Royal Rumble, which is about 4 months from now, is a good lengthy title reign for these two, and developing whatever story they can out of it.
I love it. Well, next match was a singles match. It was Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. Little 8-minute match. Looked like Sami Zayn might, use some heel tactics, but eventually pulled it off. Fully face, fully clean. Karrion Kross goes under and potentially out of the company.
Yep. Honestly, I never saw it in him. It's nothing personal. It's just he didn't connect with me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people just don't connect with people. And unfortunately, that's the case. I hope he goes off and does amazing things in the indies, or if he does become another plaything for AEW, does some stuff there. But this was all about Sammy, and there is elements of truth to what Karrion Kross was saying. Sami Zayn is not necessarily the squeaky clean person that he says he is. I mean, we only have to go back to the feud he had with Johnny Knoxville to prove that. Um, but I think it is going to. I think this feud though is going to like add a layer to Sammy's character, and is going to be like maybe when we look back at him winning the Rumble in uh, next year, we could say back this was like the launching pad towards that.
Yeah, I think coming out of this, the big question is what do you do with Sami Zayn next? For Karrion Kross, maybe I could see him landing in like a TNA. I did like him. I liked what he did, but it was something that needed to be like his in ring didn't necessarily back up the character and the aura around it. I do find it funny that we brought him back when there was not necessarily any fanfare, and now there is fanfare and the crowd's behind him, and in those ad segments where he's doing a promo to the live crowd, everyone's like loving it, and he's getting the fans, and now we let his contract expire. I do find a little bit of irony there, but I think he'll do well TNA, as you say, Indies, or I don't know if he'll head over to AEW, but we'll see what the future holds for Mr. Cross. Women's Championship. It was Tiffany Stratton walking in defending the title. We had said this was a done deal, and well, they shocked me.
I have no. Honestly, I don't know what the plan is here. Because as we said, we were pretty darn sure that uh, Cargill was winning.
Mm-hmm.
A large part of that is not just because Cargill is who she is, but we were starting to say, where do we go with Tiffany from here? Who's next after Cargill? I have
Yep.
no answers for that because Tiffany's kind of run the gambit of her heel opponents. Are we just going to turn her heel and go from here?
Yeah, I don't know, right? I thought it was going to be Cargill. Maybe it still is on a rematch in Paris, but that's, huffing a whole lot of copium for that one. I don't know. This has been the biggest twist for me. I think there were a few unexpected things that happened throughout the card, but this one really threw me for a loop of what are we doing with Jade after this? What are we doing with Tiffy after this? If I think back to what we thought SummerSlam was going to be, we thought we were going to have Naomi, Jade, Bianca in some combination. Instead, Bianca's not on the card. Jade's losing her match, at least Naomi retaining hers, which we'll talk about. But yeah, it was not the outcome that I expected, but we are short on time, so I will run us through to our next match. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll going up against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul.
And the bad guys won. I would say it wasn't bad, and I enjoyed the stuff that Jelly Roll did.
Yeah.
I'm not clamoring necessarily to see him wrestle again, but the fact that he got in there, he did what he did. That's more than what we can say for a lot of people. So props for him. Props for all four guys doing what they did, and they made a pretty interesting match.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, which I feel like is a low bar for celebrity matches, but I didn't hate it. I would say it was above average. And yeah, I think you're right. It's like a nice little one and done. Let's have it at that. We don't need, a 50 match series with Jelly Roll, but it was good to have little SummerSlam pick me up, a little celebrity involvement.
Yeah. Now, saying that, I wouldn't be against him like just popping in every now and then
Mhm.
and doing stuff like the stuff he did with the Miz back at WrestleMania a couple of years ago. Um, Stuff like that. I wouldn't be against that,
Yeah,
but
or like
I
Bad
don't
Bunny
need to see
pops in
another.
occasionally.
Yeah, but I don't need to see another match.
That's fair. Put him in the Rumble. Why not?
Hmm.
And then the, I guess, last match on the Saturday, CM Punk, Gunther World Heavyweight Championship, half an hour. CM Punk, the boyhood dream comes true, captures the title.
It was a 30-minute match, but it felt like it was a disappointing 30 minutes match. Uh, um, I love Gunther. I think he can pretty much pull out a great match out of just about anybody. Um, CM Punk is CM Punk at this point. He's not as great as he used to be, but he's not terrible, and it was fine. Just it just didn't hit.
Yeah, I think sometimes we can have 30-minute matches and we'll sit here and we'll go like, wow, that went 30 minutes? That felt like so short. I felt the 30 minutes of this match. I
Yeah,
ended it and I was like, that match was pretty long.
yeah. But ultimately, it was for what it needed to be, what I called for,
You did say it.
because it was way too obvious. After he wins the match, he commits rule number one of what you should not do as a new champion when there's a Money in the Bank briefcase around. Stay in the freaking ring. Um, and Seth Rollins comes out with a knee brace and uh, crutches, like he's injured, and he has his briefcase, and then slowly reveals the fact that he's not injured, and catches it and becomes the new world heavyweight champion, exactly as predicted.
Definitely called this one, and as it was happening, I was sitting there going, Josh called it, Josh called it. Um, I think it was played perfectly. I think it gave CM Punk a little bit of a moment. I think he was champion for just over 5 minutes. And the Seth Rollins coming out and faking it out and then heading back, it really played to his character, right? He didn't need to, but he did because he's Seth Rollins and he's all about that flashy and ego, and yeah, it was a good cash in. Now we've got Seth Rollins' team on top, and you got Roman, Jay, Punk, LA Knight. There's a few people who have beef with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins managed to feud with every single person on the roster at the same time.
Yeah, that was interesting. And yeah, on the Raw after, Seth Rollins was forced to defend against LA Knight, and did so, and then proceeded to beat down on him and uh, uh, Punk, who got involved in the match,
Mhm.
causing a disqualification. Roman came out to try to help and got destroyed by the group, but Jey Uso was nowhere to be found, which is interesting.
We'll see how that develops
Mhm.
as the Raws go on. But it is time for our entrance theme this week, and it is our champion of 5 minutes, CM Punk. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. Night 2 of SummerSlam. Naomi, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. Triple threat for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Rhea still can't get a win at SummerSlam. Rhea still can't beat Sky. And Naomi is still champion.
Yep, what I expected. And I'm going to say something that I think I probably should have said earlier when we were talking about the Tiffany Stratton, but we kind of ran out of time. I believe that the champion versus champion match at Crown Jewel is going to be Naomi versus Bianca.
Okay.
I I think that maybe why they didn't put it on Jade is maybe to put it on Bianca and have Bianca versus Naomi. But yeah, this is what it needed to be. Naomi needed to retain, and we'll see where she goes from here. She definitely doesn't have a lack of opponents
Mhm.
that's interested in her title, and that includes her next opponent, which will be Stephanie Vaquer.
It is a, rough bounce. You've just done Sky and Ripley, and you're heading straight into Vicky. And I think she's also got to get through Io Sky a one-on-one title match next week on Raw as well. But I assume she will. There's no reason to think that won't go the way we expect. And yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Naomi to hold on to that title, to that champions versus champion match, and in Perth in October. But let's see how it all rolls out. Then we had a six-pack TLC match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. The Wyatt Six coming out on top of Andrade and Rey Fenix, DIY, Fraxia, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits.
That this gets announced immediately after we record our shows.
Yep.
Because of course it would. Also, this is the match we probably should have gotten at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Instead of the Raw Tag Team Championships. But this was fun. There was a lot of big amazing spots. Props for Candice LeRae and
100%.
her and the stuff she did. And ultimately, because it was the curse of we just had new champions, we can't change them again. So the Wyatt Six retain.
Yeah, I like everything about it for the match, like what it was, right? When you put a whole bunch of people into a ladder match or a no DQ match like this, it's always a cluster. It's always fun. I enjoyed it. As you say, it feels almost like redemption, or like what we paying them back for it not being at WrestleMania, getting the SummerSlam big ladder match instead. It was cool. And I enjoyed it. And there was a lot of SummerSlam debuts here as well. Phoenix, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, possibly even some members of Wyatt Six, at least Gacy for sure. So, good little mix of a match. But let's move on to Women's Intercontinental Championship. It was no DQs. It was no count out. Becky Lynch coming out on top. Lyra Valkyria has no chances left.
Yep. It is what it is. I think it was a good match. It was a case like we talked about multiple times. It just didn't feel like Lyra was the one to beat Becky here. And, and there's still, and it allows her to spin off and do stuff with Bayley, because Bayley tried to help and then accidentally screwed over Lyra. So, do we get maybe a heel Lyra Victoria because of it?
It does feel that way, right? I think spinning out of this, based on what happened on Raw, you've definitely got Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella as the next feud or defense. And then, Lyra is pretty mad at Bayley. And that makes the most sense for that to be a heel Lyra. I don't think you'll spin a heel Bayley off of this. If you were going to, you would have done it in the match, when Bayley was holding the weapon ready to strike Lyra, chose not to. So maybe that's the edge we need, or that little bit of a change up in Lyra's character. And feuding with Bayley never does anybody, bad things. It's always positive.
And it gives her a chance to develop a character, an actual character that might make us care about her to the point where we could say maybe she could win the Rumble and compete for a world title at WrestleMania. Maybe. But right now, that's not something I would say right now.
Fair enough. Well, United States Championship was also on the line. It was a steel cage match, basically guaranteeing interference, and that was exactly what we got. Solo Sikoa did walk out with his championship. it was the standard bloodline match you would expect in terms of the amount of interferences on both sides.
Yeah. I will say this: Jacob Fatu is he's a tough guy. Um, he broke out his inner Mark Henry and destroyed a pair of handcuffs.
Loved it.
Yeah. Uh, and it took uh, a door, the steel door, being kicked into his head to stop him. Because that, of course, it was a escape for the finish, and one of the easiest way to do it is to have the champion climb the cage, and at the same time, the helpers prevent the challenger from getting out the door.
Yeah, it was pretty much what we'd expected for this match. I think it continues to cement Jacob as the standout star for me. When I think about where this bloodline is gonna go, I just want to know what we're gonna do with Jacob, and let's send him to the moon. He did the moonsault off of the cage onto the bloodline. Solid, loved it, and let's not be stuck here too long. I know we're obviously building to a War Games match. We'll have that big faction warfare. Let's not stick here too long. Once we've wrapped up, maybe Jacob does well in that sort of Royal Rumble kind of line. But I want Jacob to have a match at WrestleMania that's maybe not Bloodline related. Maybe he's broken off and challenging for a title or something big. I don't want him to be stuck in that sort of black hole sphere.
Yeah, I will say this: if there is one Bloodline match that I would have zero problems with him being involved in, it would be a straight one-on-one match with Roman.
Yeah.
That is the one match. But yeah, give him something to do at WrestleMania and start plugging away for Mr. Money in the Bank next year. I think he could make a strong argument to be a future man in Mr. Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm. Intercontinental Championship for the men on the line. Dominic Mysterio defeating AJ Styles. It was what it was.
It was a fine match. And ultimately, Dominic pulled out Eddie Guerrero's book of cheats, lies, and steals from with the chair, and as well as loosening his boot so that when a submission would try to be put on him, it would come off and it will directly result in him retaining the title.
Yeah. I think this whole match was a love letter to Eddie Guerrero, from the entrances to the gear to, we do the chair spot, we do the boot slipping spot. Loved it. It was cool. And then on Raw, it looks like, AJ Styles, Mysterio may still be plugging away, and we have 50 El Grande Americanos now, which we don't have time to talk about this week, but I'm sure they'll still be there next week when we get there. So the Intercontinental Championship still has things to do, which should be fun. Main event time. If you thought the 30 minutes of CM Punk and Gunther was long for a SummerSlam main event, I'll introduce you to the 37 minutes. Cody Rhodes, John Cena, undisputed WWE Championship street fight, redemption of their WrestleMania match. Just two dudes going at it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's the difference between the 30-minute match of Punk Gunther and the 37-minute match of Cena Rhodes. There was a reason for it to be 37 minutes in this one because of the stipulation. This allowed them to absolutely tear the house down, bring everything they had that they have left, and absolutely kill it. And I think they did.
Yeah. I loved it. I liked the match a lot more than their WrestleMania match. It also didn't have Travis Scott, which is a bonus. And obviously with the way the show recording went, we didn't talk about the John Cena switching back to face before this match. I think it all worked out, and interested to see where we go with these last 4 months of John Cena. Begrudgingly, although we do only have like 30 seconds to a minute left, the outcome of this match, Cody Rhodes leaving with the title, John Cena setting up his next feud with a returning Brock Lesnar.
And it's fine. I think, honestly, I think Brock wouldn't be back if they didn't think that it was fine for him to be back. So I'm going to be all right with it, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Then I don't have to air an opinion one way or the other. I can play the middle. But yeah, that was SummerSlam. It was packed, and I'm sure there's plenty of stuff from Raw and from SmackDown this week that we would love to get to, but that will be a next week job because we have run out of time. It's been great talking to you.
Hi, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND Up, and we will catch you next week.